Hey guys, it's James here from eBassGuitar, and in today's bass guitar lesson, I'm going to show you the ultimate speed drill for intermediate bassists. I'll see you inside the lesson. So let's talk speed and technique. But first of all, I would love to ask you guys, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to technique and speed? Do let me know in the comments below. So today, I'm going to show you a device that I call the Ultimate Speed Builder. And this is specifically aimed at intermediate bass players. Because one of the challenges that I see with intermediates when they start wanting to build speed and dexterity is just making sure the coordination between both hands is solid. And this drill is really the very best way that I've seen and I've taught students over the years to deal with this challenge. So the most common problem I see with students in the intermediate phases when they're trying to build their speed is to do with the plucking hand, and that's not having a consistent alternate fingering technique. What I mean by that is going 1, 2, 1, 2 if you're using the 2-finger technique. What tends to happen is students will go 1, 2 and then maybe they'll do 2 1s or 2 2s, but basically it's not consistent. And what you need to do to build up the speed is be able to go 1 2 1 2 1 2 on absolute autopilot. So today I'm going to show you how to make sure to know that you're always using the right finger. So first of all, we need to set the foundations to this exercise. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a simple metronome and I'm going to place it at 70 beats per minute. And then we're going to play the 1 finger per fret exercise. So let me show you this, like that. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And all we're doing is just using all 4 digits in the left hand or the fretting hand. And we can just go back and forth like this. Once you're comfortable, do it across all 4 strings. Etc, etc. So what we want to do is gradually speed that up, but crucially we want to make sure that we're doing alternate fingering to begin with, and I'm going to show you how to make that work in a fail-safe way in a second. But to build your technique up from the ground upwards, what we want to do is roughly build that up 5 to 10 BPM at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it up to 80 like this, and you can see what I mean. And I'm trying to use alternate fingering here all of the time. And what I want you to do rather, is take this through 10 BPM increments. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wind this all the way up to 140 right now. So this is 140 BPM. So what I want you to be able to do is play that at 140 BPM before moving on to the next stage of this exercise. So once you're comfortable at 140 beats per minute, the next stage is to halve the metronome tempo back down to 70, but crucially play the same speed with the notes that are coming out. So you're going to be playing 2 notes per beat. And so it will sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... And this is where the real magic starts to happen. And this is something I teach in the Essential Technique course over at eBassGuitar in the Bass Lab Plus membership. And this is so important, because if you get this right, it will show you how to really nail the alternate fingering technique. So all of the notes which are on the beat fall on the first finger in the plucking hand, and the notes which are off the beat fall in the middle on the second finger. So you end up with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So if you get out, you always know that the notes which are on the beat fall on the first finger. And also with the left hand, the notes, or the fretting hand, the notes which fall on the beat are always on the first and the third finger as well. So this is a great way of making sure you always understand which finger you should be using, and you'll know if you get out. So let me demonstrate this to you with the metronome. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, like that. So you can say it out loud, 1, 2, 1, 2, or you can count it 1 and. It doesn't really matter. But using this method, this drill, you will always know whether you're on the right finger, because so often students just don't know which finger they should be using, or they get out and they wonder why they're tripping up and can't make certain phrases. Now for me, alternate fingering is the absolute way, the best way to get the speed into your playing. I'm totally aware there's some freaky players out there like James Jamerson, which did it all with one finger, but generally I would say they are the exception rather than the rule, and this is a technique which is worked for me for well over 15 to 20 years, so I know it's absolutely rock solid. So to start building your technique from this point, all we need to do is take it through the same process before and gradually raise the tempo up. I would probably do this to 3 to 4 BPM increments at a time, but let me just demonstrate. I'm going to put this up to say 90 BPM now, like that. Actually, let's do 100 and you can see what happens. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and like that. So we want to again take this up to 140 BPM. So I'm going to do that now so you can hear the tempo which is involved. So once you're comfortable at 140 BPM, you've guessed it, the next stage is to halve the tempo again. So we're back down to 70 BPM now, and what you're going to discover is we're going to be playing 4 notes per beat now. So we've got 4 notes in the left hand on each string, so the first finger of each 4-note grouping is always going to land on the beep, and we're playing alternate fingering 1, 2, 1, 2, so the note on the beep again is going to be a first finger. So let me demonstrate this to you. So what I find useful with that exercise is to accent the note which is on the beat just to center it. So then we just want to gradually start raising the tempo again. Do it 2 to 3 BPM increments at a time, and you'll gradually just keep pushing your technique, but always keep laser focused on what fingers are lining up with the beat. So that's the ultimate speed drill, and it's the most powerful thing intermediate players can practice every day when they're trying to build their technique. So if you're enjoying this lesson, I would love you to subscribe to the channel, because here at eBassGuitar we release a lesson like this every single week. So if you want to be the first to know, subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell icon too. So before we wrap up today, I want to show you 2 more applications of the ultimate speed drill. So there are many ways we can use this, but the most important thing is to always kind of work with round numbers, because we're using alternate fingering, so we want everything to basically boil down to groupings of 2. This is fairly straightforward if we're doing pentatonic based exercises. So if we're working with 2 notes per string, for instance, so we could go 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, and then back again, 3, 1, like that. Very simple, very straightforward. So, and then double it up. Like that. But where it becomes a little bit more interesting is when you're practicing scales, because diatonic scales generally only have 7 notes, so that's not a round figure. So what we want to do is add an extra note. So let me demonstrate with this with the major scale. So what I want to do is play the first 7 notes of the major scale. So let's pick A major, so A, and we want to get to the octave and hit the octave like that. So that's 8 notes, and then we want to crucially repeat the octave and come back down like this. So the whole pattern sounds like this. Like that. So whenever I practice scales, I always double up the octave. And I even do that when I'm going into 2 octave scales as well, because this is what gives it a round number to it, and always make sure it works with the click. So let me demonstrate what this would be like. And double up. that doubling of the octave. We can do this with 2 octave scales as well. See, it's very, very powerful stuff. And this is a great way of building your speed and your dexterity, this framework and this way of thinking about gradually building tempos up, doubling them, carving the click as well. Because we've halved the click, our rhythm then needs to be that much more solid because it relies on us placing those notes right within the middle of the beat. So this really is the most powerful exercise that I've seen for intermediate bass players to really start ramping up their skills. So guys, that's the end of today's bass guitar lesson. If you've enjoyed this lesson, I've got 2 more technique videos I would love you to check out. The first one is called the I Saw Her Standing There Speed Builder, which takes the iconic Beatles riffs and shows you how to build your technique and dexterity. And the second video is the 3 biggest technique mistakes and how to fix them. The links for those videos in the description below. Cheers, I've been James from eBassGuitar.com and I'll catch you next time.